Hello everybody and welcome to the Togami Volume 2 summaries. Now this will be a bit more of a relaxed, this isn't more like an audiobook, this is just more like me reading the summaries. Because I want to do a proper audiobook when the actual translation comes out. I want to read that properly. So for now it'll just be me reading the summaries. So anyway, let's get this started. Chapter 1. The first bit is a callback to the simplified fairy tale story outline from the first volume, but with now certain kanji characters redacted. Then in real life, Sonia is welcoming Togami to the Despair High School, saying that his imposter and his beloved sister are on the top floor of the school. He'll have to best his students waiting for him on every floor, but he is doomed to a game over. Sonia graciously offers to take herself out and drops to the floor dramatically, shouting a catchphrase from Saint Seiya as she goes down. Soda and the Kagami sisters disappear into the school. One thing I'd like to mention is that the Kagami sisters and the Hasegawa Research Institute and the Ketoen conglomerate and all that are also characters from another series, Kagami Family Saga. So those are just like sort of references to that sort of book series, which is also written by the same guy. So Togami pretty much beats the game within 5 minutes. And he tells Sonia to get up, nudging her with his foot, and when she mumbles some silly lines about being shocked by this power, he steps on her face and demands to know where the imposter is hiding. So Sonia resists for a bit, and then Togami pulls a bag of powder out from his tuxedo pocket, which, yes, he is still wearing the tuxedo with the little flower on the lapel. So it's the truth serum that the Hasegawa Research Institute were going to use. So he tells Sonia that the side effect is death, supposedly, but shall they try it out? No one will miss a traitor to Hope's Peak and an enemy of the world. Sonia laughs at this and says that her involvement with the Despair High School is top secret, and Togami's the one on the world's wish list right now. So Togami scoffs and says that he's sick of this nonsense. He's just gonna go ahead and actually take over the world, so there. And Blue Ink's narration notes say that this is something Togami could achieve within 100 pages, had things not taken a turn. So he asks where an imposter is, and one more time Sonia tells him on the top floor. And do you expect me to check every room? Togami asks, then threatens Sonia with the truth serum again. She relents and tells him to take what's in his shirt pocket. And so Togami retrieves a map of the school, dumps the truth serum into the princess's throat anyway, and pieces out to the principal's office, leaving Sonia to fill the halls with the elegant sounds of her vomiting as she tries to get the serum out of her body. Togami reaches the office, and it looks like just about every other principal's office with a desk, sofa, trophy case, etc. The only thing that stands out is that in every former principal portrait is of Monokuma. Shinobu, Blue Ink, is tied to the sofa, limbs splayed in a very unladylike fashion. She apologizes, attempting to close her legs as much as she can, and Togami responds with, "This is certainly despairing." Suddenly Togami's own voice tells him not to do anything lewd, and that voice is coming from behind a curtain in the corner of the office. So I guess there's three things that stand out in the room. Imposter decides to channel his great and glorious leader for a moment and asks Togami if he's getting excited seeing his dear big sister trussed up on display and just how he likes. And so I don't know where he's getting this info on Togami's preferences, but it's probably Fukawa. Togami ignores this and of course tells Imposter that he's got some good news for him. He's going to take him up on this whole taking over the world business. And Imposter says that that's an unexpected surprise and asks him why. And Togami says he's fed up with this world, just like the room. Everyone wants to take over. Despair High School, Ketoen Conglomerate, Hasegawa Research Institute, Hope's Peak Academy, just everyone wants to be in charge of the world in some way. So Togami pretty much wants to be at the top, calling all the shots. Imposter asks everyone if he really wants to be in charge of everything, including the United Nations, the Red Cross, the Howard Hughes Medical Institute, etc, etc, and Togami says they do. Whether trying things bring permanent peace or eradicate humanity, it all stems from the same unsatisfied feelings. His sister notes that no matter how lofty one's intentions, trying to change the world is still a form of world domination, so Togami is going to take over the world because until he does, the world won't be happy. This speech earns some pithy applause from behind the curtain, and Sagashi says that the world would be happier if he up and died. Togami tells him he has no plans to die, and suddenly Sagishi brings up Jansiska. He asks if Togami knows him. He's a Shek hero and the first man to create an armored force. He didn't lose a battle in his entire life. Was he a military genius? Togami tells Imposter to expound his knowledge somewhere else, but Imposter wants to know if Togami is aware of why Zizka lent himself to the fight against the Catholics. And it's because his younger sister was wronged by a priest, was it not? Imposter says Togami is classy, huh? But call a spade a spade. It was because his sister was raped. Because of this one rape, the curtain was raised on a holy war. Does he see what should be taken away from this story? And it's pretty strange to see that the real Togami is silent. The moral is as if you disgrace or defile someone's family, they get really, really mad. At this point, Shinobu suddenly feels like she wants to throw up everywhere, because she isn't stupid and can sense which way the wind is blowing. Next, Imposter muses about how Togami's dissatisfaction has predated tonight, and he's always held this ball of frustration inside of him. He then makes a magnificent pun on the word air, spelling with the kanji for resentment and hate, in case you're curious. Togami remains unflappable though, says he can't be shaken from his course. His legitimacy is unassailable. In fact, you'd stake the Togami name on it? A silence fills as the office as Imposter adjusts the curtain. He goes on to say that it's also very in character for Togami to remain calm and collected, deciding to take control of the world and other people. He should really have died back then. Shinobu starts to feel an intense burning anger coming from behind the curtain. There's no doubt he must know about their past. What happened on that island? What happened in that castle? How? The cover-up should have been perfect. No one unrelated to the biggest, worst incident in the history of the Togami family should have known anything about it. Unrelated? The memory of that person's existence bubbled up within me. But it couldn't be them. Still, I realized that the heat of rage was seeping from between the gaps in the curtain. The imposter could no longer hide his bitterness towards Byakuya-sama. The temperature in the principal's office rose 0.4 degrees according to Borgs. Borgs. My gouged out right eye. Speaking of my right eye, I wondered what became of it. Byakuya-sama, with no interest in either my suffering nor the imposter's rage, slowly reached for the curtain. Well, imposter, let's see what you really look like. He pulled the curtain away, then appeared. Huh? Huh? Chapter 2. This chapter opens up in the past. If you thought this chapter was surprisingly straightforward for the writer, you'll be happy to know that he gets back into a strategy of tossing the reader into the action with little explanation right here. The chapters are further divided into little mini-chapters, which are now going to be replicated, as you may have known from the previous audiobook. Prologue. It begins with the narrator and his cohorts finding the dead body of Asagao with her head missing in Yusuke's room. Asagao, who was always smiling at the narrator, now would never smile again. There were no weapons to be found, and Pennyworth, the butler, says that all the knives have sensors installed that keep them from being taken out of the kitchen, deepening the mystery. Ichiro and Shiro were playing chess in the free space outside Yusuke's room all night and didn't see or hear anything. Of course, the rooms are soundproofed, but still they didn't see anyone go in or out of the room. No intruders could have gotten in, and even if they did, the window was still locked from the inside, and the room is on the top floor. Some people speculate that Asagao committed suicide, but why do it in her brother's room? And where is her head? It doesn't make any sense, but somehow Asagao is dead. Part 1. The narrator explains that he more than anybody needed to become the next head of the Togami family. He may only be 13, and as such in dead last in terms of the odds, but he needs to win the competition to decide the next heir of the Togami family, which will be shortened to just the competition from now on, because it's like the name of the stupid committee from Danganronpa Kirigiri or the Junko Apocalypse. And I don't want to read out the title every single time. He needs to win first place and be number 1, take home the gold medal and become king of the world. That's why he's here. This is where we finally get a sense of orientation. The narrator shares that everyone is currently on an island in the Seto Inland Sea, which, is the same island, which is set for the movie Battle Royale. Yeah, so if you know this, I think you know where it's going. The Togami conglomerate purchased the island and then wiped it off the map. There's a small digression about how the address is technically part of a town called Ushimadocho, which means cow window town. Yeah, cow. Which gets its name from a tale about Emperor Chuai's empress, who supposedly got attacked by a giant cow demon while travelling and tossed it so that it tumbled over. The original area was called Ushimarabi in reference to the cow falling down, so essentially they called the place cow tipping, but over the years it morphed into Ushimado. Pretty much, yeah. I only mention this just in case you haven't forgotten about the Kodan stuff. The Togamis put in a castle on the island called the Taojo, the Castle of 10 Crows. And the characters we're in the shit with now have all been called there. Asagawa's body was discovered on the morning of the 5th day. In the next mini chapter, everyone is assembled in the cafeteria like this is Danganronpa Kirigiri Volume 2, discussing Asagawa's death. The narrator is sipping hot cocoa that Pennyworth made for him, trying not to catch the attention of Yusuke, who is kicking up a drunken fuss about his sister's death. Jiro tries to tell him to calm down, but Yusuke is too busy ranting about how Asagawa wasn't like you other schmoes, and she wasn't his full-blood sister. Yusuke demands to know what Jiro was doing that night during the murder, and Jiro says he was taking a walk. What was Yusuke doing? He claims he was drinking with Mitsuo, but it's not like he expects a super high school level to understand how he feels. Seems like Jiro's brains are just more muscle. Things are getting heated, but then someone comes between them. A doll-like young boy with light brown hair and eyes that look like they are made of glass. Takia. He tells the two that they can't fight, and what they should be doing is blowing off steam. Which is kind of weird given off what we learn about Takia later, so just keep this in mind. Yusuke wants to call the police, but Pennyworth is like, nah bro, sorry, this is the competition and we can't stop that for something like this. Only in exceedingly formal Japanese, not in that. The narrator says that Pennyworth is kind, but he is entirely devoted to the Togami family and won't yield on this. Yusuke gets upset that no one is backing him up, and he calls them all crazy. Takia suggests that they look into the matter for themselves and try to puzzle out what happened to Asagawa, which Yusuke grudgingly agrees to. Then he turns to the narrator and asks him, "Hey brat, did you do it? Huh, you little shit, you four eyes? Don't look so hurt, you imposter. Why are you even on this island?" Oh, whatever, let's find Asagawa's head. If we track it down, we might have some evidence with it. Yusuke flew out of the door of the cafeteria. Dramatic fucker, Jiro mumbled. Part 4. Which I think I forgot to read the other part names, so it doesn't matter. So a party of Takia, Yusuke, Jiro, and Shiro, the narrator head out onto the island with a married couple named the Macabres, who took care of the grounds and cooking and so on to look for the missing head. Yusuke has sought to bring along some smokes and a bottle of whiskey. We find out that he's the former super high school level gourmet, and that his sense of taste has almost entirely been ruined by, probably thanks to the nicotine and booze. The narrator resents him. How dare he ruin his own talent when there are people like him who have none? We also learn that Jiro is the super high school level karate master, which is surprisingly straightforward. The Macabres, however, are just two normal people who happen to work on the island. They aren't sworn into the family like Pennyworth or anything, and the narrator has always liked them for being so refreshingly normal. They reach the tower, which is a pyramid that was originally supposed to be the central pillar of the gazebo that never got built, and at the base of it they find Asagawa's head caked in mud. Yusuke lets out a howl, but Takia tries to stop him, talking about how they have to preserve the crime scene. Yusuke throws him aside like a tiny sack of potatoes and tells him to shut up and quit playing detective, and it takes Jiro using a karate move to incapacitate Yusuke and stop his fit. The Macabres begin chanting and the narrator muses how Asagawa was a Catholic, which means we should move on to the afterlife following her judgment. He wonders if it matters if her head and body are separated. Takia later looks closely at the head and notes that looks like a beheading was not a clean job, which makes sense since all the weapons, including blades, had to be surrendered when setting foot on the island. He turns to the Macabres and asks them if there was a saw. No, or wire, anywhere on this island. The couple whispered to each other in a foreign language and then replied that there's a wire in the storage shed used for vacancies, because we can't just call it an old normal vacation. This is a rich family. French for everyone. Which is probably why I mispronounced vacancies to something else. This is not the first trip the potential heirs have taken to the island. They've been there before for vacancies. I'm just going to pronounce it that way, sorry. As a way to get to know their brothers from a mother and sisters from the same mister but from a different mother. The narrator says that it's not just fun and games, but more a way to size up future rivals in the competition. Many of the talents of the narrator's half-siblings are coming into play now during this investigation. Like when Shiro, who until now has done a whole lot of nothing, notices with his eagle eyes that there's a trail through the dirt. Seeing all the others be useful in this situation gives the narrator a severe inferiority complex, and he wonders if someone like him could ever be the heir to the Togami conglomerate. No, he has to win this competition, it's his duty. The group collects the head and returns to the castle where there's a fuss happening outside. There are more Togami kids standing in the garden and the man-made pond there. There's Pennyworth, Ichiro, Ayumi, and Togami Shinobu, my older sister. The four of them seems to be looking at something floating in the man-made pond. Wasuke is lying dead in the boat with an evidence of a stab wound in his chest. What is this? Tell me what's going on, Kazuya, my older sister asked me. That's what I wanted to know. Part 5. So yeah, the narrator's name is Togami Kazuya, which you may notice is not the same as the rich deuce nodule we all know and love from Danganronpa. Although the ya at the end of their names uses the same kanji. So there's a couple of possibilities here. Togami changed his first name after winning the competition, or our Togami is a completely different dude than Kazuya. So could that mean that this Kazuya guy is an imposter? Well, I guess we'll find out later. Anyway, Ichiro determines that the cause of death was death by bleeding out via a stab wound, and that Wasuke was killed in the night of the third day, even before Asagao. So everyone goes to the cafeteria to discuss this. Kazuya, on his second cocoa of the day, it's not that he's in love with it or anything, it's just that sweet foods can help calm his nerves. Shinobu is similar, though she prefers tea, and she's sipping cocoa beside him. Kazuya then makes the totally not at all creepy observation that his sister's pallid face is beautiful. Moments in the book where we all wonder what Fukawa would think at this. 1 and counting. The 15 siblings has dropped to 13. Thanks to that, the empty seats in the cafeteria stand out even more. In attendance are Ichiro and Shiro, Mitsuzo and Takuya, Ayumi, Shinobu, Kazuya, and Pennyworth. They are discussing the murder weapon and how they didn't find any evidence of it, and how such a weapon shouldn't even exist on the island. There are also no way anyone should be able to get onto the island who isn't authorized to be there. Ayumi starts tossing out accusations, suggesting they're Macabres, but Pennyworth assures her that it isn't them, and she asks that if he's the culprit, and he politely tells her to stop asking stupid questions. Ichiro tries to cheer everyone up, suggesting that they enjoy the dinner the Macabres are making. If they are the murderers, then they all find out whether their food is poisoned. Part 6. After dinner, Ichiro, Shiro, Takuya, Shinobu, and Kazuya go into Yusuke's room together to investigate the crime scene there. Kazuya says the room reeks of death, and inside the room, Asagao's body has been covered up. They remove the covering to examine the body, exposing her headless torso and the blood that gushed out from her neck, and Shinobu starts sobbing. Kazuya too feels tears welling up. Everyone loved Asagao. Ichiro and Takuya both agree that it was definitely a wire that severed the head and began investigating. Shiro, meanwhile, however, checks the door. Kazuya watches them. 2 silvers and a gold rank. Doing their thing, he compares to himself. He's just a bronze rank. The absolute lowest rank. And the inferior complex begins to bubble up once again. He decides he's going to help investigate too. He's going to really sink his teeth into this so as to not fall behind. He'll stake the Togami name on it. Ichiro has noticed that the lock on the window is an old-fashioned revolving latch, which can't be opened from the outside without some kind of gadget. Takuya muses that there isn't anyone that proficient with machinery among them. It's not like there's someone who could build a lock opening or closing robot or anything. This prompts the question about how exactly Takuya closes his own window when he brushes off. Shiro reports that the door is normal as well. Kazuo tries sucking himself up to do some help with the logical lifting, and he starts looking at the blood splatter on the floor. Since the blood is dried, it's now a dark red colour, reminding him of lava. And which pretty much can remind everyone of the image of the bored Togami sprite in the messed up classroom in the first game with the actual red dried up blood. Kazuo notices that there's a strange rectangular spot about the size of an envelope where there's no blood. Takuya sees that he's found something there, surmising that it might have been a suicide note left there. Kazuo sees that this is the line of thinking that he should be taking and wondering why the suicide note isn't there. Was it actually a suicide note after all? Kazuyoshi, you and Shinobushi go back to your room. Leave these kind of things to the adults. But, don't worry, I won't let anyone else die. But, this is a job for a Togami. You probably didn't mean to hurt my feelings, but my mood plummeted. A job for a Togami. A job for a Togami. A job for a Togami. Shiro, you go back too. Ichiro Nissan, what are you going to do about the culprit? I'm going to question him to see if he did it. Part 7. This chapter opens with Kazuya and Shinobu hanging out in the hallway, listening to Yusuke scream while Ichiro, Jiro, and Takuya interrogate him. This is the family you want to marry into, Fukawa. Mitsuzo comes, but he lacks the courage to open the door to Ichiro's room. Asking what's going on, the siblings answer that there's questioning underway, and Mitsuzo comments that it sounds more like torture, so he decides he didn't hear anything and runs off. Shinobu takes Kazuya's hand and tells him to stay near her, which he agrees to. Insert cute awing sounds. He's happy to stay close by, but feels like he should be the one protecting her instead. But she survives the loss of an arm and an eye, and who knows what else, so I think Shinobu's gonna be okay. Finally, the door opens and Ichiro, Jiro, and Takuya come out, reporting that Yusuke has told them nothing. Takuya says that it would have been easier if he were the negotiator rather than the super junior school level agitator. So there's the DR aesthetic. So once again, we meet one of those junior school levels like the vice president, rather than the elementary school levels like Monica and Nagisa from Ultra Despair Girls. So chatting among themselves, they three interrogators head off down the hallway. Through the cracked door, Kazuya can see a beaten up Yusuke looking like the bullied turtle in a fairy tale, which is the Urashima Taro fairy tale, so give that a look up. Yusuke is staring straight at him, laughing and lips flapping, repeating die, 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 die over and over. A new laugh. On the landing on the stairs, two dolls stood arm in arm. White faces, white hands and arms, white and black dresses. Uh-oh. Hair so blonde it was almost white. The same voice, the same voice. Uh-oh. Everything about them was cold and robotic. Yep, they were human. Togami Asa and Togami Yoru. The two were one. The two were the super high school level weather forecasters. The twin sisters laughed at the same time, then stopped at the same time. Oh Kazuya, shirking your responsibilities. Oh Kazuya, even now relying on your big sister. The curtain has only just been raised on the killing. The killing is not finished yet. There is a 92% chance the murders will continue. The chance that the murders will continue is more than 92%. Having shared their disconcerting and eerie prediction, the twins left, arms still entwined. And that is how I spent most of the night on the 5th day. Poor Kazuya. Twins in Danganronpa are never ever a good sign. Even the Ketoins weren't particularly great for Togami, although they're fraternal twins, so that's less bad, I suppose. And the twin sisters from Danganronpa might as well be Kirigiri's ability to hear Death's footsteps, but for the reader. and then you got the Kirigiri, Danganronpa Kirigiri, weird paranormal investigators who investigate twins and their supernatural abilities from, was it like volume 5 or something? Some like weird. What is it with twins in this series? Never a good thing. Anyway, weather forecasting is kind of along the same vein of analysis, so basically everyone's gonna just like die pretty much, I think. Pretty much all their Togami family names are pretty dumb. So in this case, the twin Gami names are Morning and Night. So yeah, they just got some funny pun names. Anyway, this is where I think I'll stop. So that was Chapter 1 and 2's summaries. Well, half of Chapter 2's summary. These will be a bit shorter episode length, just because of this. The summaries are a lot shorter. Like this summary is only 100 pages long. I mean, I'm only on 10 pages. I'm only 10 pages in so far, so who knows. Plus, like the next part is like really long. But I guess for sake, I will just give the names to the Togami children, just in case anyone was wondering. So, Maina Togami's children is number 1, Ichiro, age 23, former super high school level surgeon, silver rank. Number 2, Jiro, age 18, super high school level karate master, silver rank. 3, Saburo, age 15, no talent, bronze. 4, Shiro, age 14, no talent, silver. Yoshi Togami's children. 5, Mitsuzo, age 27, bronze rank. Number 6, Takuya Togami, age 14, super junior high school level agitator, gold rank. Saya Togami's children. Number 7, Yusuke, age 31, former super high school level gourmet, bronze rank. And 8, Asagao, age 28, no talent, bronze rank. Lord Togami's children. 9, Wasuke, age 22, no talent, bronze rank. Kanako Togami's children. Number 10, Ayumi Togami, age 19, bronze rank. Anastasia Togami's children. Number 11, Asa, 16, super high school level weather forecaster, bronze rank. And 12, Yoru, 16, super high school level weather forecaster, bronze rank. Michiko's children. Suzuhiko Togami, age 26, former super high school level hitman, rank silver. Number 14, Shinobu Togami, age 14, no talent, bronze rank. Number 15, Burger King footlet, no I'm just kidding. Number 15, Kazuya Togami, age 13, no talent, bronze rank. Favoured to win, Takuya, gold rank. Opposition, Ichiro, silver rank. Possible to win, Jiro, silver rank. Could come from behind, Suzuhiko, silver rank. No mark, Shiro, silver rank. So there is the children, the 15 members. Now, you might have noticed, was Suzuhiko is on here again? Come on. Exactly my thoughts. I mean, Suzuhiko is a kind of cool character, I guess. A little bit of a rip-off in my opinion, but oh well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little summary, and I will come back to you next time on the next summary video. Take care, everyone.